welcome back to the Court of Cowls. We've been off for a little bit, but we decided to come back. We got some really cool things going on with the old YouTube, with a whole show, but sometimes you got to slow down and really pay tribute to the legends. And yesterday we lost one of the biggest legends. A lot of people, Christian Bale, Michael Keaton, Kevin Conroy, you could arguably say they play Batman, but only one man was Batman, and that was Adam West. We lost him, and now we want to pay our respects. So I am Cody.
I'm Chris.
I'm Mike.
I'm August.
And court is in session. That felt a lot better.
Good. Yeah. So we're in mourning. We lost a national treasure yesterday, and we just want to talk about it and celebrate the bright night.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be honest, I had not heard that phrase until yesterday, but if anything could, sum him up, it's the bright night.
Yeah.
Being a child of the 80s, obviously, the Adam West series was way before my time, but didn't stop me from watching it every day.
Oh yeah, that was the only Batman I knew for the longest time.
Yeah, that was my parents' Batman.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I told my mom about the animated movie that they did last year or earlier this year, I was like, "Holy crap!" It's Adam West and Burt Ward, and she was like, "Holy crap!" I used to watch that show as a kid with your uncle. I was just like, "You and Batman, really? What the crap? No way!" So.
I feel like even with our generation and some of the surrounding little bits of it, I just feel like that on top of the Adam West Batman and animated Batman is how I feel like a lot of people got introduced to Batman. Honestly,
he was.
Absolutely.
I mean, he went from. It's like hearing the remix version of a song that you've loved and never heard the remix. It's I got my kid. He's 10. He'll show me some songs and I'll be like, oh man, I haven't heard this song in a while. And it'll be like listening to Bohemian Rhapsody, for example, and be like, yeah, this is a great song. And then they start singing and I'm like, this isn't Queen. This isn't the right song. So that's I think where we get with Batman with a lot of, different generations is everyone has their version of Batman, and a lot of people probably see, a lot of our parents and grandparents probably see Batman now, and some of them might be like, I kind of liked him when he was goofing around and, surfing and...
I think there are three tiers of Batman people.
Mm-hmm.
There's myself, which is... When I read a Batman comic, when I think of Batman, I hear Kevin Conroy's voice.
Absolutely.
There are 2 voices in my head. 3 voices in my head. My voice, the voice telling me not to do terrible things, and Kevin Conroy.
Yeah.
That voice is in my head constantly.
Mm-hmm.
And is the 3 other gentlemen sitting around this table know, we're sitting in a room of Batman stuff. I love me some Batman.
Mm-hmm.
9 times out of 10, if you see me in public, I'm wearing something Batman related. I'm wearing a Batman wristband, and it is just this universal thing. People just know what Batman is, and there's so many people at my job that will be like, "Oh, I watched Batman. You like Batman? I like Batman too." And older generation, it's Adam West. It's I remember Adam West, and it's just this huge. It's so strange to think that before any of us walked this earth, that this was this huge thing. And there was a time when you could not say Batman without Adam West, and you could not say Adam West without Batman.
Mm-hmm. And I love the fact that no one looks at that version of Batman and says, "Oh yeah, man, I'm glad they figured out the show because it was so campy and stupid." Everyone treats it with respect. Everyone's just kind of like, "Oh yeah, Adam West version of Batman."
Didn't Yoga Housers do that? Where the 2 girls were doing Christian Bale was their Batman, and it was Adam West, and they were like that's where's the trigger and everything that was their Batman.
He does a Adam West impersonation, and he's like, oh yeah, he's doing Batman, and they're like, well, no, that's not Batman. Batman's like, where's the triggers? And they're like, no, that's not Batman.
Yeah.
And I think it's been kind of, people like the campiness. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
even to modern day pop culture, it's kind of like just been a staple. There's a lot of references and pretty much anything, superhero related. You even
Mm-hmm.
look at the Lego Batman movie, and there are references to Adam West's Batman all
Oh,
over
yeah.
Good
the
old
place.
shark repellent.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, it has become it's almost its own separate like cultural icon.
Mm-hmm.
Like you've got the entirety of Batman mythos, and then the Adam West is
Yeah.
kind of its own thing. Like it's almost
Well,
like
there's
it's,
Batman 66. That's an ongoing. I don't know if it's ongoing, but it was a comic book
I
series.
think it's still going on because I'm pretty
yeah.
sure. Well, I don't want to tell lies here because I know they're doing the Batman Shadow thing, but I think that's like
Yeah.
Rebirth Batman and stuff. But yeah, I mean, he's had his own
Yeah.
story, and it's because I remember they did recently. Recently might have been a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
They introduced like a Two-Face because he was never in the show, so they
Yeah,
did it in the
yeah.
comic, and then they did like a team up with Wonder Woman and stuff,
Mhm.
and
Because
it's
they were
just-
planning on doing Two-Face by the time they got canceled, he was going to be on the following season,
Mhm.
as they were going to introduce Two-Face as a character, but he wasn't on there. Instead we got like one of the goofiest versions of Mr. Freeze I've ever seen in the blue. We got Shane the cowboy.
Oh my
If
gosh.
you remember that.
Yeah.
And,
Vincent Van Gogh is
yeah.
Egg the egg guy. Why can't I think of his name? He made egg puns the entire time.
Oh
Why?
God, now that you've said it like that, it's gonna kill me too.
I'm gonna call him Egg Dude for now.
Egg guy,
I'll
yeah.
think of it. I'll
Eggman.
look it up and find out.
Joker having a mustache.
Dude,
Yeah, because he would not
He
shave his
used
face.
to shave it off.
And you know what? That tells you that they want you as the actor when they'll paint your mustache
Mhm.
and it looks terrible. But yeah. So I mean, look,
Yeah.
the Adam West Batman. I mean, you can't get rid of a bomb. Some days you just
Yeah.
can't get rid of a bomb. Like rehydrating water. I mean, it was just fun. Like it.
Yeah.
I was a kid, and heaven knows I'm the biggest supporter for the darkness of DC.
Mhm.
But there was a special place for the Adam West Batman.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's got this silliness that just doesn't age.
Mhm.
I mean, some of the set design does, but not really. Like, it's just kind of a timeless look,
Oh yeah.
Just because it fits just the campiness of it.
Right.
And I mean, just the color, like the vibrance of the color,
Mhm.
like it was just so different from anything we have today.
Yeah.
And I mean, a show like that would last 6 episodes
Yeah.
if they tried to do it today. It just
Because it would be too obvious, but I mean that then it wasn't obvious. Like it started out as one thing and then became its own living creature. And there's references abound, like still today, and you see the cultural impact. Many years later, a bunch of guys got together in a room full of Batman figures, called themselves the Court of Cowls, and one of their sign-off mottos was "Keep the red phone ringing," which is a reference to the original Batman show, because the mayor had a phone that he would call Batman directly, and that's usually how the episodes would take place. So you'd have Adam West just talking on a phone, and he was able to like build a character, and he you didn't really see him as Bruce Wayne very often, but Kevin Conroy kind of learned how to be Bruce Wayne and Batman and put on the Batman voice, and like having the Bat voice, it was still there in the original, and like it's all just variations of Adam West, just a more serious tone.
absolutely.
But I really don't think we'd have as much respect as we do for Batman now if we didn't have the 1960s Adam West version first.
Yeah.
Because that was all silly, and then when they and then we got the animated cartoon much later in life, which the movie came from.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
well, obviously, Dark Knight Returns, and then the animated show, and then, so basically, once we went dark with a character, it just made it so much cooler.
Well, unfortunately, you can't go back. Like, once you've
Yeah.
gone dark with it, there's no return.
Yeah.
And I think the reason it worked is, and I'm not going to get into some big, like, philosophical debate.
Yeah.
We're much more cynical now than we were back then.
Yeah.
It worked back then because people just, they took it as fun.
Mhm.
They didn't nitpick it and pick apart every single episode and continuity errors.
Mhm.
It was just, you sit down, you didn't have anything else to watch. Even if you did, you probably still would have watched it.
Yeah.
But it was on, and it was great, and the cliffhangers on almost every episode, it felt like,
Will Batman and his ward escape the death trap? Find out next time. Same bat time, same bat channel.
By the way, his name was Egghead.
Egghead.
Price was Egghead.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know why I couldn't remember head. I could remember egg, but not head. So.
The closest they've ever gotten to like kind of trying to tie it in is Grant Morrison's psychedelic self, as he did Batman R.I.P.
Mm-hmm.
And he tried to link every single version of Batman together. And what he said for the 1960s Batman, it was Batman Year One, and then after fighting Joker and Poison Ivy and Scarecrow and like anyone with some kind of like noxious like gas,
mm-hmm.
that like they were so messed up from all that that was what they saw themselves as.
Yeah.
You know, that's how they saw the show going, but it really wasn't like that.
Yeah.
Again, no big surprise, I'm a Kevin Smith fan. They've done some references, like in I think Widening Gyre, it basically shows him, Batman and Robin taking down the Polka Dot Man.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in the very, very, like, Batman 1960s, very Adam West way. And then it just goes back to the present time, which is, you know, the Batman norm, which is, you know, the Batman proper, I guess, for today.
Yeah.
And just says, like, yeah, that was 15, 16 years ago. I wish times could be like that again.
Yeah.
So it, like, uses it to, like, it uses the 1960s Batman as, like, a... Like, that's how they remember it. Like, just a fun time.
More innocent before, you know. And there was a webcomic I read that ran for a long time called Short Packed. I remember the name of it.
Nice.
I think it was Short Packed. Doesn't matter. It had this, like... I mean, it was Adam West, Batman, Burt Ward, Robin, and they're like, oh, gee golly, Batman, what do we do? And he was like, you should... you know, make sure to drink your milk and eat your vitamins and stuff. And then it, like, cut down. It was like, then and now. And it was like, is that blood on your cape? My parents are dead. And it just was such, like, a commentary on just how different it was. And in the comics, how they kind of will reference it to, like, those were just simpler times before...
The funner times.
Before Identity Crisis came and just wrecked us all. And, you know... Jason Todd got beat to death with a crowbar. Yeah. Like, it was okay to be fun and be silly and
back when Catwoman said
everything.
Perfect, but didn't just say perfect.
She turned perfect into like a 13-letter word.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Everything had a purr on it. Good Lord, Burgess Meredith and Penguin. Oh my gosh. But it was all, that entire show is like full of crazy versions of our favorite characters, like, and almost the patriarchs of our favorite characters, all helmed by Adam West.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he was like the king of the goofy, like, colorful version of Batman.
But he was still so, like, good and heroic, and you know, he still stood for something, and it was, there's right and there's wrong, and you know, he definitely, like, this is right, this is wrong, and just such a moral compass. It was pretty great. But Adam West did more than just Batman.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, that is without a doubt the greatest thing he ever did. But we were looking through his IMDb, and what was it, 189 different things? Like 192.
Yeah, it was like 192
different things. Like, that guy worked his entire life, and it all stemmed from first playing Batman, but doing a Batman character that only Adam West could do. He basically just played himself.
Yeah.
And turned that into a life role. And if you could... That's success to me. Like, if you can make
like
a career out of being yourself.
66, you're Batman. In 2003... you know, Simpsons has an episode and you're still doing a Batman cameo thing, and then certain things like The Batman where he's playing the mayor and everything like that, that there's still such a respect that when somebody's like, you know what, we need to do a Batman TV show, we need to get Adam West in here, like, he needs to be a part of this because he was the one who started this. Well, he needs to be honored in being in this.
And the thing about Adam West, that voice is so iconic. Like, and anytime you think of, like, do what you would think a generic superhero voice would be like,
Mm-hmm.
over, just over the top to sell it.
Yeah.
And probably the first thing that's coming to your head is Adam West.
Yeah.
And that's why you see him all the time taking all these voice acting roles.
Mm-hmm. That's back in the day that you couldn't do a hero voice without sounding like either the guy from the narrator from Super Friends or Adam West.
Yeah.
Like, if you were doing it straight and trying to be serious, you sounded like the guy from Super Friends. If you were doing it with a little silly on it, you were Adam West. If you did it with some character, it was Adam West.
I completely and totally forgot that he was the Grey Ghost in the animated series until you shared that clip and everything.
Yeah.
And even in that, Batman was like, "You're the reason I do this. Like, you're the reason that gave me hope to keep fighting for justice and everything like that."
Yeah,
and,
that one hit me hard.
That was
the torch passing.
And animated
Kevin
Batman
Conroy
was,
himself.
Animated Batman was my Batman that I started off with because I was born in '91, so 5 years old. Cartoons are on. That Batman was on for me. Mm-hmm. So when I first saw it, I didn't think, "Oh, that's Adam West from back when with Batman and everything." And then you showed
reference
me that
wasn't
clip.
a thing. We didn't live in reference or like respect for retro.
But if Mom was sitting there with me, it wasn't like, "Oh crap, like is that Adam West?" Like or anything like that. So it never really clicked. That was like, "Oh, that's Adam West," until you shared that clip again, and I haven't seen that episode in forever. And so I heard Adam West's voice, and I was just like,
to you it was a sweet.
I was just like, "Holy crap! Like no way!" Like
to you it was a sweet moment in a cartoon you liked.
Mm-hmm.
And your mom's right behind you, like nearly choking up because she's just like, "Yeah, thank you for the respect."
Yeah. I mean, it took 20 years later for it to really like hit home. But I mean, when he's when Batman opens the thing and there's just the shrine. I mean, there's basically my room, but instead of Batman, it's Grey Ghost. And you were my childhood hero. I watched you with my dad. It meant something. And when Grey Ghost is like, it all. I can't remember exactly what he said. It all meant something, or it was all worthwhile, or whatever. Like, just, I mean, my whole life, it kind of stems back to owing it to Adam West. I mean, everything I love, every passion I have is somehow can be traced back to him.
Yeah, he was the first.
Yeah, I mean,
he was Adam.
He was Adam.
He was Adam in the beginning. In the beginning, there was Adam. As far as Batman goes, where did Batman start? In the beginning, there was Adam.
There was Adam,
and his last name was West.
Fun little story though. Like the most personal story I have about Adam West. I have two of them.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in 6th grade in my elementary school, somebody picked up their kid in the Adam West Batmobile.
Wow.
And, I mean, it just stopped the world. I mean, the Batmobile pulls up, and that kid suddenly, here's your crown, here's your throne, you're king of the school, we'll all bow down.
Ferris Bueller was born.
Yeah, pretty much so. Like, well, this was high school, that kid would have gotten laid months straight.
Oh, yeah.
That was just, I'll never forget that, like, seeing the Batmobile just pull off, and just my mind, my little...
Yeah.
However old you are in 6th grade, mind was just shattered. I was like, I didn't know what to do.
So you went to school with Dick Grayson? Is what you're saying?
Apparently I did, yeah. This Butler picked him up. That was weird. But when BVS came out, I was lucky enough to get tickets to see an early showing. So me and Tapper went and saw it. And the people we were sitting beside, I don't even know how this happened. We were talking about Batman, of course, duh. And we're talking about Adam West, because you just do. And she was like, yeah, Adam West saved my life. I was like, okay, do tell. I was like, I'm so sorry. Because, like, she was talking to somebody else. And I was like, wait, like, I'm going to be that jerk and just butt in on your conversation. And can I get some clarification here? So she told the story of she was at the beach when she was a little baby. And she, like, parents weren't paying attention or something. Like, she ran off, like, was going to run off into the ocean. This guy picked her up and took her back. And it was Adam West. And so she had this story that Adam West saved her life, and I was like, that's
so cool.
That's the greatest story. But here it was, 40 years later probably, and she's still telling this story to a complete stranger that was 15, 20 years younger than her, and we just bonded over this
Batman.
one person.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that story that she told me. I'll never forget seeing the Batmobile. I'll never forget hydrating water or hitting somebody so hard. a word describing it pops up.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just, we'll never forget.
That's that and one of my favorite. I gotta say, to close out, as far as like talking about him as far as his Batman run, one of my favorite moments of Adam West, like talking about Batman, is he did. I can't even remember like what press conference it was, but he was doing a panel at like at a convention. It was right when the Nolan verse was in full swing. Christian Bale had just done Terminator though, and that audio clip went viral of him like just flipping
berating
out.
That dude?
Yeah, berating that dude. So not that's all I'm gonna say about that. But you know, a lot of like hardcore fans were like, "That's so not Batman," and like he shouldn't have the right to play Batman. And on this panel, like one of the questions one of the fans asked Adam West was on, and apparently like it's like seeing the Beatles or Pantera or like just a band that there's no seeing them anymore in their prime. Like you're just gonna have to live with the fact that you're never gonna see them live, you know. So like I kind of wish I could have seen a panel with Adam West on it because apparently he killed it, like every single time. But a guy gets up there and asks like, "Hey, what do you think about Christian Bale playing Batman, especially after it turns out he's such a jerk?" And Adam West didn't say anything bad about Christian Bale. He didn't say like, "Yeah, that was really out of line." He made it a joke and he just said, "Well, see, that's the big difference. Christian Bale plays Batman. I'm Adam West. I am Batman."
Yeah.
And that just always meant the world to me that he wasn't like, "Oh yeah, dude, I disagree with it." He didn't take himself out of that and said, "I would never do that," you know. And he didn't say he disagreed or agreed with his actions at all. He didn't even get serious on it. He just said, "Well, Christian Bale plays Batman. I am Batman." So he just turned it all around, and the place went wild. You know, just uproared and was ecstatic and was just like, "You are Batman," you know? And that just always meant a lot to me.
Yeah.
That like he didn't even give it. He just cracked a joke about it, and everyone moved on.
Yeah, you've got people out there like that are in these iconic roles and stuff like that, and you hear they're the biggest jerk and everything like that, and then you have people that remain humble and don't let it get to their head, and it's like, I'm this person, like, I was a decent person before then, just because I make $1 million now doesn't mean I'm better than anybody.
Yeah.
And they just show respect to anybody, and it's, you know, I'm sure a 4-year-old could have, like, run up to him just in the middle of, you know, nowhere and, like, autograph, Batman, Batman, and he would have just been like, you know, absolutely, partner, you know, like, let's go fight for justice, and, like, sign the autograph where, you know, somebody now would have been like, whatever, kid, like, get away from me or something, so.
Of course, now that he's passed, unfortunately, you're going to hear every great story about him. Nobody's going to come out and say that he was an a-hole. But the thing is, I mean, he was 88 years old. The worst thing I can remember about him was that book that was written when I was a kid about him getting some extra love in on the set of Batman. And that, I mean, kudos to him. He didn't do anything bad, but, like, he just, every account I've ever heard of him was just how nice of a guy he was. Yeah. And how much he loved the fans because they loved him. And even moving past Batman, I mean, he, without a doubt, the best part of Family Guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I will go on record as saying I'm not a big Family Guy fan anymore, but the Adam West stuff is still pretty fantastic.
I don't think anyone really is, but the Adam West stuff.
A lot of stuff that he's done older now, it's always like he's playing this senile old person and everything like that, and just having fun. Like, yeah, I'm in my golden years now. Like, I'll be this voiceover for Family Guy or in like the Boondocks and stuff like that, where he's just like, you know, whatever. Like, let's just have fun with this. Let's.
Yeah,
you know.
He was never too good to do any role.
Yeah, and I think that's great, because there are a lot of actors, especially older ones, who get too serious about themselves. And that always seems, you know, something cool about Adam West is, even when he was just referencing himself, he was never above it. He, you know, always seemed like he nailed it. Like, it seemed like he gave everything to, like, the sillier roles he did.
Yeah.
And there's just a lot of actors who would never do that.
Yeah. He found out, you know, again, big fan of Kevin Smith. Hollywood Babylon, Ralph Garman. Ralph Garman is a huge 1960s Batman fan. Many years into Ralph's career, word got out that he was like a huge, like, Batman, like that specific Batman show. He was a huge fan, and his collection is, like this, but it's all Batman 60s stuff.
Yeah.
Adam West found out about that, met the dude, they became like best friends, and he gave him a couple of the original scripts. Just based on, like, from specific shows. Just based on the fact that he liked him so much.
Yeah.
And Adam West, like, thought the world of that, and they became, like, close friends. And, like, anytime they do, like, they have their show, and anytime he does a Adam West impression, and he does it with love, because he knows Adam West loves his impression.
Yeah.
And Adam West thinks it's so funny when, like, people do his voice, And it's just, like, that's just the kind of guy he was. Like, he'd find out you liked him, and he'd be like, I like you too,
That's...
And I love how on Family Guy, like, how he plays Adam West, or Mayor Chapstick, if I should say.
Yep.
And, yeah, and he is hysterical, and he's not even making fun of himself. He's just a weird guy,
It's his delivery on everything that is so, like, deadpan almost, that it just makes it hilarious.
Oh, yeah, like, fighting the Noid.
The Noid should have avoided me.
Good Lord,
I've run out of light bright. I'm not Adam Wee. Or am I?
Nobody messes with Adam Wee.
The whole, like, karaoke thing, like, starting to sing his own name, and then going under the table and saying, I'll come out when they're all gone. It's one of my favorite Adam West jokes. Stabbing the river, or stabbing the ocean.
An eye for an eye.
Yeah, stabbing the ocean because the ocean claimed two people, so he was getting even with them.
Oh my gosh, yeah. His Family Guy stuff was pretty fantastic.
Mm. But he's done video games, he's done other shows. Fairly Odd Parents, they have a character called Catman that it was just a gag not really making fun, but like just kind of like a...
It was that we're going to use this character, but we can't call him Batman, so we'll just switch that to Catman real quick. And
yeah, but he had the Cat Manor, and what was his name on Animaniacs that we...
Spruce Wayne.
Spruce Wayne, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and he was Thomas Wayne in Brave and the Bold.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That was actually a pretty good episode. Like, that was pretty, like, heartfelt, and, it was a pretty good one. He was a great guy that just, he knew what people liked, and he loved what he did, it seemed like. He didn't, it was more than just a job to him. It was just...
It was life.
Yeah.
But I just really feel like all his scripts probably just said, do Adam West stuff.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's what his Mayor West thing for Family Guy was.
Yeah.
Was just, you be you, and we'll animate from whatever you say.
Yeah. Just come up with whatever you want, bud. But he was amazing. Most of all 70 plus years we have for Batman all started with Adam West, and anytime, if I could see a quilt version of the Batman's cape, Adam West would be all over it. And if there was a Mount Rushmore of Batman, Adam West's face would be on it. Like, I can't...
Without a doubt. If there was a Mount Rushmore for actors portraying superheroes, his face would be front and center.
Absolutely.
Regardless of if he is your Batman or not, there's nobody that can argue his importance to the character, to the mythos, to pop culture in general.
Mm-hmm.
That was something that had never been seen. And, thankfully last year, it came out in 2016, was The Return of the Cape Crusader. Yeah. So obviously, him and Burt Ward were a little too old to put on the costumes and go on an adventure, so they did the animated one.
But we got one more.
We did, and it was it was perfect. It had just enough modern day humor and cynicism to not be just unwatchable, but it was campy enough and fun enough to be like, I'm 8 years old again, sitting in front of a tube TV, eating a bowl of Lucky Charms or Captain Crunch or whatever was back then.
Yeah.
And it was
a TV dinner.
Yeah. Exactly. And, and to give
waking up 7 a.m. Saturday morning, just plop right in front of the TV.
I watched it on the TV in this very room, sitting at this very table, working on the Lego 66 Batcave. And I've got the little Batmobile up there, and a little Bruce Wayne and Dick Grayson, and Aunt Harriet and Alfred and the worst Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah.
Was it even Gordon?
I don't think so.
I don't know if they ever said it was Gordon. I gotta be honest, I don't remember. But I know how I can find out. I'm gonna look
the
it up real
interwebs,
quick.
yeah.
God bless you, IMDb.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I'll say from everything that I saw, I can only ever remember them calling him Commissioner, but
I think I just kind of
Thank you,
assumed,
Commissioner.
But I and dude, he did a lot of stuff before he did Batman. I mean,
yeah, he did tons of stuff. He did a lot of theater stuff. Yeah, he did.
Lots of westerns.
He was made for western. You'd think like he'd be the next Clint Eastwood if Clint Eastwood, had clown makeup on.
He, the closest person I think I could equate him to today is Bruce Campbell.
Yeah,
I
can see that.
Never got A-list like he should have, but was such a hard B-list and was loved so much universally that he was an honorary A-list actor.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that disrespectful. No, it was Commissioner Gordon.
Yeah, it was Commissioner Gordon.
Well, hot dog. And old Chief O'Hara.
Yeah. Yeah. But he wasn't. Bruce Campbell was a B-list actor, but he was the B-list actor that every B-list actor wanted to be.
Yeah.
And I think that's what Adam West was. You stop being a B-list and you just go on to icon, and sometimes it takes many years for you to get there. But, at the height of their show, that show was extremely successful. They did some crossover stuff with Green Hornet, which was also incredibly successful. And even many, many years later, we have a comic book series of it, and you can turn on the TV probably right now and find something with Adam West doing a voiceover in it, and completely doing it with love. Yep. So we love the guy. We're glad we got one last run with him and Burt Ward. Yep. And like I said, there are a lot of people that play Batman, but you, sir, are the Dark Knight. So
the Bright Knight.
The Bright Knight.
The Bright Knight.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sadly, the world got a little bit darker, but the world got a little
cynical
bit.
Son of a bitch.
That was fixing to get rough.
My bad. But the world got a little bit darker, but I think heaven got a little bit brighter. And,
yeah, that's a good save.
And yeah, thank you. So
heaven donned the bat signal.
Yeah. The red phone was ringing, and he went up there to answer it. Mm-hmm. So now he's punching goons on some clouds.
My favorite version of Batman is always gonna be the blue and gray. Mm-hmm. I love the blue and gray with the yellow symbol. And any version of Batman that I read, I hear Kevin Conroy as well. But if it's blue and gray, I hear Adam West.
Respect. I can respect that. Well, what did you guys think? We would love to hear your fondest memories of Adam West, if it was part of your childhood, or maybe you met him at a convention, or you just love him off of Family Guy, because he was pretty great on Family Guy. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you thought. Just celebrate the man's entire life. He deserves it. We owe a lot to him. So, I guess that's really what we got for today. We hope this was therapeutic to anybody that listened to it. And
gonna keep it short today.
Yeah, we're gonna keep it short. I know you had settled in for an hour and a half podcast, and now you don't know what you're gonna do with the rest of your day, but that's okay. Go out and walk and look at the stars and think that Adam West is smiling down on you.
'Cause he is.
And maybe if you yell and you hear somebody yelling back, it's because he got in a yelling match with Quahog. Or he's trying to get all the A's out.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. And he's also, I want to mention that you can find all of his fine books over at Impulse Creations.
Boom. There you go.
Say that's where I found out that they were actually doing a comic for 66 Batman.
Yep. Yep. Impulse Creations. They'll get you taken care of.
Yep.
So, and hey, I don't know if we were going to talk about it on this episode, but it's our 1 year anniversary. We've been doing this for over a year now.
Yeah.
So, to the 2 semi-regular listeners that we have, thanks for sticking with us for a full year.
Mm-hmm.
To those of you that have stumbled upon this on YouTube, howdy. Glad to have you.
What's up, guys?
What's up?
It's not always like all grim, Colton true.
Yeah. Sometimes it's funny, sometimes it's cynical, sometimes it's educational. We wear many hats.
Yes.
But this was a sad one, so, you know, if you found us, give us a like and a subscribe. We'll be back with some brighter content very soon. But, you know, we here at Court of Cowls, our thoughts and prayers are with the West family. He will be sorely missed.
As he heads into the West.
Yep. Yep. As he rides off into the sunset in the Batmobile one last time.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. So that's enough sadness for one day. Thank you guys for listening. Mike, Augie, thank you guys for sitting there quietly and, you know, letting Cody and I ramble on for half an hour.
I knew a little bit about Adam West, but it wasn't, like I said, like that wasn't my Batman. You guys are that half generation ahead of me or so that, you know.
Yes, youngie. We know.
So, I know he meant a lot more to you as Batman and everything like that, but I mean, my Batman was Kevin Conroy for the first, and we kind of had a conversation about that when he goes, that's just gonna, you know,
well,
he's never gonna go. Yeah.
He's an immortal.
He being the voice that you read when you read a Batman comic, when it's his time, that's just gonna.
Oh, I will be. I almost
sabbatical from work and.
One of my very dear friends called me at work to tell me that Adam West had passed, and
I was in the middle of nowhere with barely any internet connection.
Yeah. It was a very busy day at work. We had a very big sale going on, so I had to be very articulate and energetic. And, and it was real hard after that. Like, it just hit me in the gut, and all I wanted to do was go home and just curl up and watch Batman and cry.
Just yell at the store, everyone out of here, we're closed now.
Yeah.
It's over.
I woke
Pack
up.
it up, go home.
I woke up, got online before I headed on to work myself, and saw the news. And sat there for a little bit. Looked over at this drawing I have that I bought off Paul Dini himself.
Yeah, you did.
And and it's the blue and gray Batman with Robin, and it's like an original drawing. I could probably put it up on our Facebook or something, but I just looked over at that, and I just saw, and it's Batman up there, and one thing I love about it is Batman's smiling, you know, and that little smile, that's the addition of Adam West to me.
Absolutely.
So.
Yep.
Duh. So
all
sorry.
Right. Wait, we're gonna bring the room down.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna let y'all go on with your day. So hey, thanks for listening. Obviously you found us on YouTube because that's where we're at right now. Hopefully we'll be on some other platforms soon. But give us a like, share, subscribe if you like what you heard. If you didn't, leave it in the comments and tell us what we could do to appease you and make you happy. We probably won't listen to it, but you'll feel better. So as always, I'm Chris.
I'm Mike.
I'm August.
I'm Cody.
And I think court is adjourned.
And we will always keep the red phone ringing.